Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gene. You guys are watching Lubed for February 25th, 2024, Season 3, Episode 44. Do you guys believe this goaltending tandem will contribute to a Stanley Cup? What I've seen over the last couple days, I'm questioning it. And I've had a lot of remarks about from you guys regarding Marc-Andre Fleury, saying it's a young man's game. I get it. I totally understand what you guys are saying. Oh boy, like I don't know, like it's not, and I don't want to blame the goaltending tandem that we have. I really, really do not want to. I think Stuart Skinner is a phenomenal goalie. I think Picard is actually a great backup. But it's like when everything isn't on the line, this team seems to kind of buckle. And that's what I've noticed. Since they lost that 16-game winning streak or ended the streak, they've been just kind of they're just average. And I'm going to be honest with you, Connor McDavid has not looked very good in the last couple of games. And I normally would never say that about Connor McDavid. But when we get into all the stats and breakdowns of all these, or these two games that took place over the last, 48 hours, I'm going to point out certain aspects that really concern me. And this isn't just on the goaltending. It never is just on the goaltending. But, there is a big but. Allowing 3 goals on 11 shots is unacceptable. Even if it isn't on the goaltending, there's got to be a better outcome than that. And that's what happened with Skinner last night. And I'm not trying to, I don't like pegging blame. I really don't like pegging blame. Because Skinner has been outstanding for us thus far. But there is some hiccups recently, and it almost seems like we're kind of tailing back into that October, 11th to November 11th kind of detail where the Oilers were just not playing very good. So we'll see what happens here. We're going to break down the Wild and the Oilers. We're going to break down the Battle of Alberta, both in which turned out to be losses. We're going to look at the Western Conference standings, and we're going to see who's right up against us when we do that. We're also going to look up at a very, very huge game tomorrow night against the Kings. And then I'm hoping to get some comments from you guys on final thoughts on what you think needs to be changed. Let's start playing armchair quarterback as a united front, guys. What would you do for trades? And let's analyze it. So anyway, let's get into the Oilers and Wild game that happened. What would it have been? Friday night. So because it was a back-to-back situation, Calvin Pickard got the start on this game. And yeah, it was, oh geez, I don't know how to explain this one. Like, Calvin Pickard played okay, considering he's a backup goalie, he probably played to his expectation level. So I'm not really going to fault him that much. Stuart Skinner is technically a backup goalie, so I'm not going to fault him either in the Calgary game. But man, some of the goals were soft. Let's be honest, right? And I know you guys out there, when I did my let's grab Fleury kind of thing, you're saying it's a young man's game. I get it. You guys are 100% correct. It is a young man's game, but I also know that Marc-Andre Fleury is a clutch goaltender when it comes to the playoffs. You know, his record has proven it. Taking the Vegas Golden Knights to the Stanley Cup final in their inaugural season. They did lose to the Washington Capitals, but he took them all the way to the final. And I think he really was the guy that was the big factor. So anyway, yeah. Let's get into the scoring summary. Let me just pull that up here of this game. And it started off with Matt Boldy scoring his first goal at 1937 of the first period. So right at the end of the first period, 1-0 Minnesota. And Minnesota has always been the Achilles heel of the Oilers. In the second period, there would be only one goal as well, and it would be Leon Draisaitl on the power play from McDavid and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. We got a 1-1 game. We go into the third period where basically everything kind of exploded. It would be Jonas Bordin getting his fifth from Declan Chisholm and Kirill Kaprizov. Sorry, pronunciation is bad. 2-1. That would be at 9:31. At 12:18, Matt Boldy, his 22nd from Ryan Hartman and Marcus Johnson. It's now 3-1. Zach Hyman would get one back on the power play from Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, making it 3-2. But then an empty netter goal by Matt Zuccarello would throw this game into the depths of hell, essentially. As it would wind up as a 4-2 final. And the Oilers lose another one. And it was unfortunate, but it was. Let's break down the stats of this particular game and the flaws. Okay, shots on goal. 43-20. So the Oilers were peppering the goaltender for Minnesota. I can't remember his name, but really it was. I've seen this too many times this year where the Oilers would just fire, like out shooting opponents 2-1, sometimes 3-1. In this case, it's 2.5-1. Yeah, it was just it's frustrating as a fan to watch. Hits by the opponent. Minnesota gets the edge here. Slight edge, 28-26. Face-off win percentage. Now this is a crazy stat. The Oilers won 67.9% of the face-offs that were thrown their way. Yet they still lose this game. Usually when you win the face-offs, like let's be honest, when you win the face-offs, you have control of the puck. When you have control of the puck, you wear the other team down. That's the kind of the way it works. It didn't work tonight. The power play, the Oilers were 2 for 2, so they were 100% on this. Power play was working fine. The penalty kill, 4 for 4. So, I mean, special teams wasn't an issue tonight. Shots blocked, 19-16 in favor of Edmonton. So Edmonton even blocked more shots. This is one of those anomaly games that it just should not have gone the Minnesota Wild way, but it did. Let's go into takeaways. Edmonton led that category 14-4. Another good stat for the Oilers. Of course, the one stat that they always seem to fail on is the giveaways, as they gave the puck away 9-5. That's something that they got to work on. I don't think it's that detrimental to their game. I think overall their game was pretty reputable, pretty respectable. My 3 stars, I did not want to give Connor McDavid a star here. But he did have 2 assists. And the reason why I did not want to give him a star is he was also a -4 on a 4-goal game. So it was not a great effort for Connor McDavid as he was on the ice for all 4 of the Minnesota Wild goals. I'm going to give the second star to Evan Bouchard, who had 5 hits and 4 blocked shots. He was a -3, though. I got to give these stars to someone. They're not superstars, obviously, in this game. You know, having a -3, -4, not exactly what you shoot for. And then Leon Draisaitl will be my first star with a 1 goal and 1 assist. He was a -2. I mean, like, really, none of them qualify to be stars. But they were the best guys that we had throughout that night. And that's the way I looked at it. So yeah, that was a little bit unfortunate as we witnessed that. And then we go to the very next night against the Calgary Flames, a team that the Edmonton Oilers have beaten twice already this year. So you know that this team was going to come in heavy, hard. They didn't want to get. This is a team that does not want to be swept. Okay, so let's put it that way. It was a tough game, but a lot of flaws again in this one. As far as the scoring summary goes, it turned out to be Nazem Kadri in the first period getting his 21st at 2:02. This would be from Walker Duar and Noah Hannafin. Noah Hannafin is actually looking pretty good. So if the Oilers can somehow squeak him in the deadline, I'm okay with that. And I do remember Noah Hannafin was our expected pick back in 2016 when we ended up winning the draft lottery, and we know who we got. Martin Prospel would get the second goal for Calgary from Connor Zary and Braden Patchell. It's 2-0 Calgary. And in the third period, Noah Hannafin would get his 10th from Mikael Backlund and Jonathan Huberdeau. We got a 3-0 game. 15 minutes and 53 seconds into the first period. Not looking good for the Oilers. Not looking good for the Battle of Alberta. Zach Hyman would kind of close the distance with a power play goal at 18:29 from Connor McDavid and Evan Bouchard. We go to the second period. Zach Hyman, once again, getting his 37th from Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid at 4:34 of the second. Then it would be Drayden Hunt getting his first goal of the season, potentially the first goal of his career. I'm not exactly sure who this Drayden Hunt is. But regardless, he got a goal. We go to Jonathan Huberdeau as the assists and Oliver Klingenton. It's good to see Klingenton back after his ordeal that he had to deal with. And then Noah Hannafin on the power play from Connor Zary and Rasmus Anderson. It is 5-2. The bad guys, the Flames, the Calgary Flames, after 2 periods. We go into the third period and it doesn't get improved at all, as Blake Coleman would get an empty netter at a ridiculous time, because Knobloch would pull the goalie like very early, like 10 minutes early. 6-2, and then it would be Matthias Janmark getting his 4th of the year from Matthias Ekholm. The final would be 6-3. So the last 2 games that I'm reporting on were losses. I don't know. I like to think a lot of it boils down to the goaltending, but I try to have an objective opinion, because the goaltending is only so much to blame. The defense needs to be better, and Connor McDavid in the last 2 games, not so good. All right, so let's break down the stats of this one. Shots on goal, 35-31 for Edmonton. When it came to hits on the opponent, 34-32 Edmonton. So Edmonton out-hitting Calgary. Again, like you can't really fault the Oilers for some of their play because they have been really good. As far as the face-off percentage, this was 100% right down the middle, 50-50 split. When it comes to the power play, the Oilers were 1 for 3, 33%. Came to the penalty kill, they were 3 for 4, so they were 75% on that. Block shots. I've added this element in because I'm starting to realize how important blocking shots are. It would have been 25-12 for Calgary. So you understand at this point in time how important it is to get a good shot blocker. So let's hope that the Oilers can manage to get 10 off at the deadline, because I think he was definitely, I looked at the stats, he was definitely one of the leaders that night for block shots. Takeaways, 7-4 for Edmonton. What do we got? Giveaways, 15-7 Edmonton. So the Oilers notoriously bad at giving away the puck. And this is something that I think that needs to be addressed, because how many episodes have I done of this channel have the Oilers, a little bit down and out when it comes to the giveaways. So my 3 stars of this game, I'm going to give the first one to Darnell Nurse, and for the reasons of him having 4 blocked shots and 6 hits. So he was definitely an effective player when it came to giving the toughness to the game. My second star, I got to give this to Matthias Janmark. 1 goal and a huge fight. Uncharacteristic like for Janmark to get into a scrap. And I'll tell you, man, he laid some bombs down. I think he got the better of the Calgary opponent. So that was excellent to see. You never see Janmark in a fight, but we did last night, and that was great. And my first star, I'm going to give it to Zach Hyman, as he had 2 goals and 8 shots. But realistically, I'm giving these stars, but really, realistically, if you don't win the game, you're not much of a star. So up next, a very huge game, and I'm going to explain it very shortly when I get into the standings here against the Los Angeles Kings. But right now, both teams are at 68 points, I believe. So it's massive. It's massive. And yes, the Western Conference is starting to really clutter up. It's going to be, we basically have 7 weeks now. 7 weeks till the Stanley Cup playoffs. And it's go time. We're going to see. This is now, we're rallying for position. We're rallying for everything that makes a lot of sense. So we'll see what the Oilers end up doing here at the deadline, which is right around the corner. We'll see if they can get some trade acquisition, maybe some help on the goaltending end, help on the defensive end of things. But we'll see what they do. We will see what they do. Okay, so let's get into the Western Conference standings. Now, as you can see, you got Edmonton, obviously, in third. They have games in hand on Los Angeles, but realistically, they are now equal for points at 68 points. So tomorrow's game is very pivotal, because if the Oilers lose, Los Angeles will then take over the 3rd place spot. And that means the Oilers would be playing, I don't know exactly how it would work out, but it looks like they would play the Winnipeg Jets, who are very, very strong, if it stays that way. That being said, when I go into my comments section, going forward, I am going to have you the lineups of who is playing who in the playoffs if the playoffs were to start today. So it's kind of a neat little feature that I added. Yeah, it's really greasy here. Like, I mean, you look at LA with 68 points. You look at Nashville, 64. You look at Blues with 62. You look at Minnesota Wild with 62. You look at the Calgary Flames with 61. And then from there, I think I don't know. I mean, it's going to be tough for Seattle, Arizona, Anaheim. Definitely not San Jose, and actually even Anaheim I'd rule out, and Chicago I would rule out. So it's gonna be a very, very interesting going forward. We're down to 7 weeks till the playoffs. We're down to a few weeks till the trade deadline. It's gonna be an interesting couple of weeks. So up next for your Edmonton Oilers is the Los Angeles Kings. Geez, man. This is going to be huge. This game is super, super, super huge. This is pivotal. The Oilers need to win this game. I really do believe the Oilers need to win this game. I think this is incredibly pivotal. If they lose this game, they'll be up against home ice advantage 100%, right? So right now, yeah, we'll see how this all plays out. Some of the comparisons that we have going into this game is the LA Kings have a 29-17-10 record. Meanwhile, the Oilers have a 33-20-2 record going into this. The away record, LA Kings are amazing on the road. 18-7-4. That should be something to be very worried about. Meanwhile, the Oilers' home record is 17-8-2. So they got, in respect to where they play, very similar records. But for LA to have an 18-7-4 record, that's very respectable. The last 10, the LA Kings have been flying. 7-2-1. The Oilers not so much. 4-5-1. Oilers are on a 3-game losing streak. The LA Kings are on a 1-game winning streak. David Rittich is expected to start. His record is 9-3-3 with a .221 goals against average and a .917 save percentage. 1 shutout. Skinner is probably likely to get the go. 25-13-2, .272 goals against average, and a .901 save percentage. 2 shutouts. When it comes to notable stats, the LA Kings are 3rd in the league for shots on goal, as they average about 33.7. They are also 3rd in the league for goals allowed, so they are stingy, very stingy at 2.63 goals allowed. And then they are 2nd on the penalty kill. So the power play that the Oilers have is a struggling power play. We understand that. It's going to be tough for them to muster up any goals against the LA Kings. So we'll see. We'll see how this all plays out. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that the Oilers can simplify their game. I think that's the biggest thing. I think they're just overthinking things. They need to get back to what was successful back during that winning streak. Because right now, I'm going to be honest with you, they're kind of tapering back to that team that was back in October to early November before Woodcroft got fired. And we don't want to see that. We definitely don't want to see that. All right, guys, I'm going to go into final thoughts. And as you can see here, I have a graph on who the Western Conference teams would be playing. So if the playoffs were to start today, you'd have the St. Louis Blues taking on the Vancouver Canucks. So the right side of it will always be the home ice advantage when I do this. And I'm going to do this every time I do an episode. We'll see how it changes. So St. Louis would play the Vancouver Canucks. The LA Kings would play the Dallas Stars. The Colorado Avalanche would face off against the Winnipeg Jets, and the Edmonton Oilers would take on the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm going to do this every episode just to see how it changes. And I'm also going to add teams that are still in the mix, and I'll start slowly dropping them off once I feel that they're no longer a potential contender. So I got Nashville, Minnesota, Seattle, and Calgary still in the mix. We'll see what happens here, if that turns into something that could be. Thank you guys for your comments. I'd like you guys to make comments when I'm doing this live, but regardless, I did hear all your comments, and I do respect all your comments, and especially the ones regarding Fleury and his age. You know, you guys aren't wrong. There's no question you guys are wrong. I just think he's a clutch player, and I just think the Oilers need to address the goaltending tandem going forward, especially if the way Connor McDavid said it last year, cup or bust. So, like, this could very well be the last year that we see this team together. Maybe Draisaitl gets traded. I don't know. I'm not sure. So we'll see what happens. All right, guys. If you guys are new to this channel and are witnessing it for the very first time and like the content I bring, feel free to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Those of you who have been with me through thick and thin, a big salute to y'all. I greatly appreciate your support. And I guess this will be a wrap for this episode. I will be back Tuesday night to recap this Los Angeles Kings game, which could be very massive. Let's go, boys. We need a win. We need a W here. Let's go. All right, guys, I'm out of here. You guys have a great evening.